All set?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should be all set. So just bear with us a second. This computer's acting up. Esau got to do his thing. What the fuck? Shit, everything just went black.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Satan just doing his thing, but
Yeah.
just got to let him do his thing, and I promise it will pass. All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Remember the Patience of Job and Other Topics. I'm joined with the Elder Chanak
Shalom.
and the mighty brother Jezreel from Texas. And pretty much, we're back in Dallas. We got here, almost 6 o'clock this morning.
Yeah,
So Barak Dale, Bashem El Shai for that. And we just went to go grab a bite to eat a little while ago. And on the way back, I was talking to the Elder Kanak about I opened the Bible right this morning, and it went right to Job, the first chapter.
Wow.
But I was thinking in my mind that I was in Hosea, the first chapter. And I was thinking, wow, that's heavy because Apostle Tar did a video on Jake being peculiar. So I kind of wanted to build off of that spirit. But then I read Job, and then as I'm getting towards the end of the chapter, I said, damn, I'm not in Hosea, I'm in Job.
Oh wow.
But Job, man, that book is the blueprint for Israelites' life.
Yeah.
And this man exemplified that. He's the only one outside of Yahushua that had a body of work like that as far as catching hell.
Mm-hmm.
Apostle Paul, of course, the apostles.
Yeah.
But the Job is special.
Yeah.
And even Apostle Paul said, Apostle James said, remember the paces of Job, which Lord's will we're gonna get to that. So when I was reading through it this morning, right, he was getting notifications, for lack of better words, right, and everything was just bad. This happened, and the Sabians came, and the Chaldeans came, and then this group came, and they destroyed this, and they took your crops, and they took your cattle,
Fire from heaven came down.
And the fire from heaven came down.
That's of the Most High, right?
That's it. That's it. So it was just like it was intense, right? So it was 4 different scenarios that happened to Job just in a matter of that one day, a few couple of hours apart, probably, right? And then I was talking to the Elder Kanako about it, and they said, yeah, and then this woman came against him. I said, but yeah, before that, he got sick. That was number 5. Then when this woman came against him, that was 6.
Ooh.
And we both was like, oh shit, that's Satan.
Dang.
Because remember, Satan come at you when you're at your weakest.
Yeah.
And what's the weakness of a man? A woman.
Ooh.
Especially,
Slaki,
No, you got it, Pabakasha.
Is being attacked.
Yes.
You can't be like in your right mind, because you might be able to deal with certain stressors if you have a strong constitution, strong body.
Sure.
But say you're plagued, and you have to deal with all that, and then your woman comes.
Damn.
That's like the perfect storm for somebody just to curse the Most High,
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah, well, that's why she said that. Curse the Most High and die, because that was Satan that jumped on her, just like he jumped on Judas. But the difference is Judas is an Israelite man. She was a woman. A woman is a weak vessel. So that was like the last straw, because if anything, you go into all this stuff, you thinking your woman's gonna comfort you. What's that scripture in the Apocrypha, right? A woman that will not comfort her man.
I think that's
husband.
25.
Is it 25?
I believe so.
Yep, that's the one. So that's crazy. What the fuck is going on, man? Why the fuck this shit keep going black?
It's Satan,
he ain't liking this.
Yeah.
Like every time I click off of something, it just goes black. Just let me know if you find it.
Gone. Yeah, it's either in 25 or 26 for sure.
Gone. Yep. Because you had mentioned that, right?
Gone.
Yep. On the way here. You know, like I said, we had a very heavy spirited conversation, you know, on the way here.
Verse 23. I'll read it.
Which one?
25 and 23.
25, 23. Go ahead.
This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 25 and 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage,
Mm-hmm.
and maketh a heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
Yeah, a woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So, but you got to remember that this was like trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma that he's going through.
Right.
And on top of all that, losing all his substance,
Yeah.
losing all of his children,
Yeah.
losing his health.
Yeah.
Then his woman come with that bullshit.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Well, it's just as crazy, and it's heavy that he lost his woman at the very end,
Yes.
as opposed to she could have left after the kids, after
Mhm.
whatever, you know what I mean? So he's still, he's still thinking, my woman's still here, she, you know what I mean? At least that, and at the very end, after he lost everything, the woman was the last thing to go.
That's it.
It's heavy.
Like that was his last pillar of hope of comfort,
Being that, yep,
because a woman's supposed to be a helpmeet.
your rest of your help me, so it's like removing that.
Yeah, because you can get more substance,
Yeah,
right? You can get more, you can have more children with that woman.
exactly.
You know, you can build the house.
Yep.
Your health can recover.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, but say all that happens and the woman that's supposed to be your comfort does that to you, that can destroy you.
Yeah.
You know, because she's supposed to be a pillar of rest.
Matter
You
of
know,
fact,
One exactly.
we got to go to the scripture.
Okay.
Many are going out there with.
Okay, yeah.
But now go ahead, finish your points.
No, that was it. You know, that was it.
You know, and this is why, you know, you can't trust in a woman.
I think that's in the same chapter.
You could, if you got something else,
If you
bring
got
it out.
If you got it.
But-
No, I just remember, it's a spirit, because I was just reading 25, Psalm 25 this the other night. And I believe that's in that same chapter.
So if you got something, bring it out. I'm gonna find this other one while you get that. If you find it, you can bring it out.
This is let me get that.
You know, because I remember years ago, Elder Apostle Star said that a man loves his woman, but a woman, a man loves his woman
more than a woman loves a man.
more than his woman loves his right, more than a woman loves her man. And he said, you know how you prove that? I mean, I'm just merely paraphrasing what he said. He said, because the woman is the man's glory. You know, so the woman's glory is her hair. It's not her man. So her main motivation is going to be about her hair.
Her beauty.
The man's main motivation is going to be about his woman. That's why, many men have been taken out by a woman. You know?
No, I remember, I don't know when he had mentioned it,
This was
but
like years ago.
Okay.
I'm talking about even before YouTube. I'm talking about going way back, I think, all the way back to school in Connecticut.
Wow. Okay. Because I remember specifically, this is like maybe a year or two ago. I never forgot that when he said that. He said it on wax.
I believe, he said it. He said it again. But I remember the first time he said it was years ago. He said it, a few times. Yeah. So
I'll bring it up.
Okay.
This is first.
And when you find that other precept, let us know. But go ahead.
In wits, many run out of wits. That's
Yep.
Esdras. That's first Esdras 4.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
Esdras
Okay.
4.
You're right.
Yep. So
What verse you in?
the point is in 26, but maybe I can start up a little bit.
All right. Use your discretion.
Yep.
Because everything when he goes when Zerubbabel starts speaking about these women, he
went in.
He went all the way in.
He went in.
And he didn't go all the way in based off of just book smart.
Right.
He had experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we were talking about earlier, that experience.
That's right.
First Esdras 4 and 20. A man leaveth his own father.
Man, look where my cursor.
Where you at? See, look at
Right. That's a spirit.
Yeah. Verse 20. A man leaveth his own father that brought him up, and his own country, and cleaveth unto his wife.
Because that's what the scriptures say. Man leaveth his father and mother, cleaveth to his woman. Okay.
He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remembereth neither father nor mother nor country.
Yeah, because the woman. Remember what happened when Isaac lost his woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
His wife, his mother.
his mother. You know what happened? He was comforted by another woman, by his wife. You know, Rebecca. You know, so once you have a woman that's a good woman, you know, you get into that woman, you forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And that's what the woman was set up for, as a pillar of rest, comfort, help me. You know, like another thing Elder Pastor said, he said, you know, the Most High in this captivity, he really got us because he took his name from us, but he also took the woman away from us. Because he said, just imagine you was catching all this hell, but your woman was still cool with you and still taking care of you. And, you know, when you come home, what's going on, baby? Don't worry, I got you. You know, give you a rub down, you know, cook you some good food, you know. Hell wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
And then if you had multiple women doing that, you know, you have 4 or 5 women that would
now you're taking it to another level.
You know? you know, you would be good. You wouldn't really be catching that hell.
You wouldn't make it in IUIC, bro. You can only have one wife, brother, one woman.
Going off.
Yeah.
It says, verse 22. But this also ye must know that women have dominion over you.
Mm-hmm.
Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman?
And that's true, because I've known men, you know, I mean, I don't know maybe I did know some personally, I don't remember, but you hear stories of men going to work and giving a whole fucking check to their woman.
Yep.
You know?
I worked with a guy like that recently. Yeah, and I just add on. I was a butcher at the store, and I remember there, cool. Look at him; he looked like big Debo dude,
right.
You know. And yeah, man, you my wife, man. You know, I come home and he just told me out of the blue, I give her my check, and she just give me like $100 for the week. And I didn't know how to digest that. Like, wow. So basically, she gives you an allowance.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Out of your own shit.
You know, and he just, you know, he has that happy wife, happy life spirit on him. You know?
Well, that's in Isaiah, if I can get that.
What you got?
Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 3:12.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yep. Isaiah 3:12. It says, "As for my people," right? You were speaking about a Jake, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's a Jake, right? So this is speaking about the Israelites.
Yep.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, going into Esau, all right, because Esau is younger, going to Job 30th chapter tells you that, you know. It says, and women rule over them. Oh, my people. And I'm pretty sure you guys are older than me, so you got way more experience in that realm. Not only seeing it, you know, seeing those examples of women ruling over men.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and having to control the relationship. Well, in Jeremiah 31:22, what it say, the Lord, he has created a new thing in the earth. A woman should compass a man.
Yeah.
But even then, when Zerubbabel was speaking, women still had that power over men.
Yeah.
You still have weak men, even though the women was not in the high position as they are now.
Right.
Yeah. So how much more now?
Right.
Yeah, well, Zerubbabel was speaking about the king and his concubine, Apamay.
Yeah.
You know, and how she smacked the crown off his head. She'll smack him. You know, and if she, and he would be like, his heart would melt if she was, you know, displeased with him. He'll seek to please her, you know, but if somebody else did that shit, a man, he would have bumped into him, he was through. He was getting his head chopped off or hung on a gallows somewhere.
As for my people, and this is why Esau, he weaponizes the woman, especially against our people.
Weaker vessel.
And that's really the Most High. Like you said, the Lord, not only he took his name, which is the hedge to understand it, especially where the place of the woman.
Wow.
But he took the woman as well.
Yeah.
But it's really it really was the name of the Most High, because the name of the Most High, that sets everything in order.
Right.
Even the woman is in order under the name, right? Paul spoke about that, the order of things. Yahushua, it's the Most High, Yahushua, the man and the woman, and then the children.
Right.
Once you take the Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh Shemashai out of the equation, you got chaos.
Yeah.
And that's really what the woman, she's the agent of chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's the weaker vessel. She has to be ruled over. Okay.
That's how you say that too, because when you look at it, it's like not only with that, but you know, he took our legacy from us. You know, a woman brings forth the seed, you know, which is to bring forth, you know what I mean, ultimately your legacy, man. So taking his name, taking, I mean, I did everything he took from me, from us, our woman, a legacy, and everything. When we were just reduced to pretty much nothing, man.
Yeah, well, that's why now better off dealing with the women of the other nations.
yeah.
Just don't marry them.
Yeah.
But at the same token, too, we deprive the Most High of His woman because we're the Most High's woman. So we pretty much was, harlots on the loose.
That's it.
And we displeased her. Hey, remember the scripture say a drunkard, a woman that's a drunkard and a gatherer abroad bringeth much grief or something along those lines. So this is pretty much how we became.
Yep.
When we started going into all of the different, you got to think of it this way. If somebody drinks, they slurring their words, they're fucked up, their judgment's off, they stumbling. But when you're going into these different, philosophies and cultures and religions, when you start performing the acts of those things, it's like someone that's drunk. And you're drunk off the philosophies and the religions and cultures of these nations. And you're performing, doing the things that, and when the Lord's looking at that, like, this motherfucker's drunk. Because he ain't doing what I programmed him to do. He ain't doing what I showed him to do. He doing some other shit. That's why he said, I'm gonna punish those kings and princes that are arrayed with strange apparel.
Just going what you're saying, because it's like a father that's gonna punish his son.
Yeah.
When you see some badass kid out there in the neighborhood, you're not compelled to go and take that child and correct him and apply discipline. That's not your child.
Right.
So that child is held to a completely different standard.
Yeah.
He's not punished like we were punished. The Most High punished us completely different. That's why when we go out, the Most High, he works quick. The other nations, he don't care what they do. He said he giving them up to Satan. They were supposed to be given to them other gods. I don't give a fuck with this.
Yeah.
They're like a drop of a bucket.
Yep.
They're kind of unto like spittle.
Yeah.
But when Jake do something, the Lord gonna come down with that motherfucking hammer, man.
Yeah.
Jack you up.
Because we're the sons and the women are the daughters of the Most High.
Yeah, and when you look at it, right, no other nation woman is in the state that our nation woman is in.
Facts.
Okay, that's all spiritual. The Most High did that,
and that's why them women of the other nations that are following the Jake woman today, right? They're following it based off of the Babylonian way of life, because you have Israelite women that are on other sides of the world in the East that don't act like this.
That's right.
So they're like, the men are the standard for other men. The Israelite man is the standard for other men. The Israelite woman is the standard for other women out there of other nations. Because at the end of the day, when the kingdom is established, all nations are going to have to follow our ways. They're going to have to follow our examples.
That's right.
Yep. Isaiah 3:12 again. For as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths.
Right.
If you want to say something about it.
Well, yeah, it says, read that part.
It says, "O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err."
And that's talking about the leadership. And, if you're a leader, if you want to, claim yourself or fancy yourself to be a leader, you have to show the right examples.
Right.
Because when we look at our elders, of course, but when we look at our examples, Yahweh Shai, the prophets, the apostles, the teachers of Yahweh Shai, they led by example. They didn't talk the talk, they walked the walk. So those are our examples. So if you are going to call yourself a leader, you have to show those same examples. Why should a man follow? Not just because you say so or because you have a cult of personality. There should be some spiritual qualities about a man that someone wants to follow. And I'm not talking about just some bullshit facade you put up. I'm talking about actions that you show, in the way that you conduct yourself, in the way that you behave yourself,
right,
in the way that you act, and the examples that you're given to other men that are under you, that have been put under your care for their guidance. They got to be able to look at that and be able to follow behind those footsteps, And a lot of you guys are not doing that. So that's why it says that leaders cause them to err, because Jake are sheep. and they're always looking for someone to lead them. Sheep cannot lead themselves. They always need a leader to lead them.
A shepherd.
A shepherd, that's right. So if you're not, shepherding right,
Yep.
then you're shepherding wrong. And if you're shepherding wrong, I ain't trying to make it like a sermon, but if you ain't doing the right thing, you're
A wicked,
leading.
it's a righteous servant.
There you go.
It's a righteous, with the apostles going in, this is righteous.
Yeah.
Every, things, like Jake in the churches, that's all wicked sermons,
Mhm.
and breaking down the scriptures. Well, they're pastors, right?
Yeah.
A pastor is supposed to take the sheep to to green pastures,
Yeah.
to still waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to lead them in the correct path.
Fed and nourished.
Fed and nourished.
That's right.
Fattened up for what? For the slaughter, really?
That's right.
To be a sacrifice.
Ultimately,
Ultimately, right? Or to get the wool,
Yep.
to be of some use.
Sure.
Because each Israelite is really supposed to be of some use to Yahweh Shemashah on the right hand side.
that's right.
But we know, according to his plan, that they're of a use to the Most High, but on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Right. We're supposed to be useful to the right on the right hand side.
That's
You
it.
know?
I got a precept.
Bring it out.
Just to line it back on what you were saying, Pastor. It's beautiful. This is Deuteronomy 4, 5, and point is in 6. And behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments,
Yeah, beautiful.
even as the Lord my power commanded me, that you should do them in the land where ye go to possess it.
Mhm.
All right, so these were, that marriage contract, that covenant, right, was a symbol or an insight on how righteousness is supposed to be upheld within the earth, man. We were an upright people, right? No matter where we were scattered unto. And it says, keep therefore and do them. Here's the point. For this is the wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say,
And if I can say this too, and this is why Esau, there's such a push, all right, a fervent push to separate us from those laws that you commanded.
right?
Yes.
Right? This
Right.
is why when the first image, if I say black man, what is the first image that comes into your head?
Pookie, Ray Ray.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
It's something
Big
negative.
Shirley.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because that's
Program.
what the nations, starting with Esau, that's what
Yeah.
they want Jake to be in that negative aspect, that negative stigma,
Mindset, yeah.
Right.
mindset,
Right.
the negative view.
Right.
That's the proverb in the Bible.
That's
of
it.
the curses.
You see?
Beautiful.
But with the law, statute, commandments, that was supposed to separate you from the other nations
Right.
and to make you holy.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like, oh, damn.
Yes.
I want to, because that's a good example. I want to actually, because when you actually see a good example, you actually want to follow that
Right.
Yeah.
good example.
That's right.
You're actually really inclined to follow good examples.
Sure.
But what does Esau, what example does he put out there? He puts up negative examples.
Mm-hmm.
Any good example that's out there, especially when it pertains to our people, he suppresses.
Right.
Like inventions and things that will better so-called humanity and good examples for our people. He suppresses. He doesn't give you any platform.
Right. That's a Revelation 6. Hellish. Hell and death follows him. Hellish conditions on the earth, man. This is ultimately what that man pushes out throughout the earth. Anything that's upright, as you said, or that's contrary. What is that? Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, goes into that.
Mhm.
We perceive him as counterfeit.
Yep.
His ways are contrary to ours. But it's that vibration that ultimately this man pushes out. So that's why, going back to what Apostle said, it's beautiful. Having that understanding is that we were Deuteronomy 7:6. That we were chosen. All right, above all the nations of the earth. Why? Because we were given the Lord's breath, man.
Yeah.
And with that breath comes a legacy. It comes a way of life. It brings forth fruitful actions within the earth, man.
Mhm.
All right, it brings forth things that are good. Okay, and like you said, because of this man, we in his world ultimately. All right, he pushes the vibrations out that's contrary to that. And hence, just look out into the world. Look out into your window. Look out the window. This is the vibration of Esau. This is why everything is the way it is. So going back to this is just to get the last end of it. It
Mhm.
says, keep therefore and do them, for this is the wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Yeah.
Now we know that's going back then to what is that? Was it Isaiah the 2nd chapter? Right? Because they're all going to come back up here once the government is established, and they're going to learn these and do it the right way. They're going to see what fruit is brought forth because of that. Man.
Mhm. I got a quick precept.
Yeah.
This Isaiah chapter 5, and you can read from the first verse, but we're gonna go straight to the point. And this right here is the ultimate blueprint
Yes.
of
Beautiful.
specifics and taking careful care
Mhm.
in planting your vineyard or your garden, right?
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Now, what I want to go is I want to go to the main point. Judah, I believe
You want
this
me to
is.
read it? Just tell me where to read.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find
7
the.
maybe?
I'm trying to find the main point
Okay.
because there's a point. Unless I'm in the wrong chapter.
What's that? What can I have done more?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What more?
What what else could I have done
More?
to my vineyard?
Let me see if that comes up. I thought it was Isaiah
Yeah,
5.
verse 4.
Okay. Oh yeah. Let me go back.
Isaiah 5:4.
Sometimes you be
Yeah,
so
you skim
excited.
over, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That's
said when you
it.
start at
Start
the
at
top,
3.
beautiful.
You know what? Yeah. Start.
Because it builds
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it,
All right.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. No,
what-
because there was a reason why
Okay.
I wanted to go here. And no, you know what? Just read the 4th verse.
Okay, I
We're
got you.
gonna go back to it, but start at 3. We're gonna go back, but the thing is that there's a point that the brother brought out. The priest brought out. So I want to kind of expand on that because he said that the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that the Lord gave us separated from the nations.
Right.
And the nations will look at us and say, what one nation is so great as this people that have the Most High so close to him
Right.
with such great wisdom and understanding.
Right.
You see?
Right.
Because they see
Yes.
that on us, when we do the right thing with the Lord.
God.
So read that.
Yeah, Isaiah 5:3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard.
Right. So you judge who is in the right. Is the Most High in the right, or are we in the right? Judge. Look, judge between me and my vineyard.
Yeah.
I already set it up. You already see the fruits of it. All you gotta do is read. Go ahead.
It says, what could have I done more to my vineyard that I have not done
Right.
to it?
So what more could I have done? There was nothing else I could do. I mean, I set that thing up to perfection. That's why I said I planted you wholly of righteous nature, the right seed.
That's right.
How have you become this degenerate? I don't even recognize you anymore.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Where did you go left?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I look that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes.
And this goes back to we being the wife of the Most High.
Yeah.
Like when you have a woman, right? A woman is instructed
Mhm.
on how to, if she's brought up in the right household, she is instructed. Like when you go to Titus, the 2nd chapter, the older women were supposed to teach the younger women how to behave, how to act, how to conduct themselves, how to bring up their children, how to, please their husband, just things that womanly duties that are very necessary for the nation.
Yep.
But being here in Babylon, drank the serpent's juice, it's venom.
Yep.
So these women were supposed to be instructed like we were instructed. So let's go real quick, and then we can go back.
No, it's all good.
Ecclesiasticus 26 and 13. And then
Wherever
sky's the
it
limit
is.
in the spirit, because it said the paces of Job and other topics. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 26.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second. And what else?
Ecclesiasticus 26 and 13.
Okay. Ecclesiasticus 26 and 13. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fat his bones.
Right, because she was what? Read on. It's going to tell you.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord,
Go ahead.
and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
There is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. So we were well instructed.
Man.
So we don't have no excuse.
Right.
We were well instructed, but
Right.
we understand the reason why we went down the route that we went down. Because the Lord set it up that we programmed us to do it that way.
That's right.
Because the same way he magnified us, brought us down, when he magnifies us again, he's going to magnify us to levels that's never even been heard of.
God.
No nation has ever shined like we're going to shine.
Let's go.
And the elder apostle Gabar was doing the lesson, right?
Uh-huh.
I think it was yesterday, and he was speaking, and he said something, and I was in the bed sleeping. This was like 6 something in the morning, because we got in late. And he said something about Jake and the ladder and something. I can't really remember exactly how he said it, but it brought this to mind. I wanted to get up and go grab, but my phone was on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Yeah.
I wanted to grab it and bring out this scripture here. I think I'm sorry, not Habakkuk. It's Haggai.
And I got a precept too.
Bring it out.
Yeah, just what you're saying. We are well instructed. It's real quick.
Mhm.
Group 4 and 4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us.
Woo! Beautiful.
Just going back into what the apostle was saying, we didn't really have an excuse.
Right.
We were given a blueprint,
Right.
of how to please the Most High. We were well instructed of how to live upright in this earth.
Right.
We were given the what do they call it when you buy something, the instruction.
Yeah.
The
Instructions.
the instructions
Yeah.
of how to like build something.
Yeah. Yep.
You weren't just given this here do this, build this. I want you to build this
Right.
this house.
Yeah.
And
With no instruction.
with no instruction, no blueprint.
Right.
And
You got the blueprint, and you don't follow the blueprint, and the shit don't come out right. Then you're trying to blame everybody
it
else.
was the perfect blueprint.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Lord actually sent men also to keep you in that way, to
Right.
make sure you're on that path. He sent
Right.
prophets.
Right.
Right. He said he's like, what else could I have done? I did everything that that a man could do. Right.
Right.
But it just shows you the imperfections.
What is a man to do?
But that just shows you the imperfections of these weak bodies.
Yeah.
This is why that the
Right.
new covenant is going to be established
Right.
on better promises.
Right.
Because we're going to have the actual body to embody the will of the Most High
That's
perfectly.
right.
To be able to keep it perfect.
That's it.
Right. Because like the Spirit's talking about, the Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yep.
The bodies that we're going to have are going to be intertwined and joined under the Spirit in
Yeah.
perfection.
And if
We're
I,
gonna
it's
work
like,
on
and if I can
that.
say, going back, we actually had to experience this.
Yes.
We had to experience the fall.
Judges and kings.
We had to experience going off,
Right.
Yeah.
going into these other ways. What Solomon said, he went into madness.
Yeah.
We had to experience
Yeah.
going into that so we can appreciate the righteous. Now
Right.
we're like, Lord, I don't want to do nothing wicked.
Yeah.
I just want to be righteous. Let me just do the work. I'm okay with not having this. I'm okay with not having that.
Right.
I just let me just do your will.
Yeah.
Because I know ultimately I'm gonna inherit that. But I'm cool. I don't want to do that no more.
Right.
Right.
But we had to go through that to understand this.
Hey, what they say, experience the best teacher.
Yep.
So now, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm
No.
sorry.
Bring out the point, because I got a precept. But go ahead.
No, I
bro.
was just going to say, Scripture talking about the Lord's raising judges, kings, and priests. Because in the kingdom, we're still going to have office. We're still going to have administration that has to be
Yep.
pushed out. With other nations, everything that these nations are going to be dealing with, we've already dealt with, and we're at the very bottom
Yep.
on this side.
And we're gonna have to instruct them.
Whew.
Like if you have an ailment, right, and you're trying to help somebody, and you already went through it.
Yes.
Yep.
It's so
Like
much,
somebody I know. You sound like a good, bro.
Nah, it's so much easier to say, nah, it's all good. It's
Mhm.
okay.
It's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
Because you
Man.
went through it. It's not like you just read something
Right.
and you just winged it. You
Right,
actually
right.
went through, you experienced, you went through the ups and the downs.
Right.
You know the highs and the lows. You know the outcome if you continue to stay on that path.
Yeah. Yeah, like the IUIC, they wingmasters, man. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna read this right quick, and then y'all got it. This is Haggai,
Not tap in.
chapter 2 and verse. I'm gonna start at 8. The point is at 9. And then when Elder Apostle Gabar said that, I wanted to get up so bad, but I was just through, man. Lord forgive me. I wanted to put that in the comment section, and then of course, when I wake up, I forgot all about it till just now.
God.
But Haggai 2 and 8, the silver is mine and the gold is mine,
Mm.
saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts. Matter of fact, I start at 7. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts. So the Lord's going to take us from that outcast, low position. Remember, when there's casting down, there's lifting up. So we're going to be lifted up.
That's right.
That's the title.
That's
There is lifting up.
God.
It says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, because silver and gold is always precious,
Right.
but sometimes it gets tainted and it has to be refined,
Mhm.
purified again, right?
That's true.
Say of Yahweh Bashem El Shai of hosts, the glory of this latter house, right, shall be greater than of the former. And it was great back then,
Yes.
but it's going to be even greater So you got to remember, look at Jake now in the low condition that Jake is in and the magnificent things that Jake can do.
Right.
So just imagine when we're in our, in a position of royalty and like we like there's no hindrances.
Ooh.
Sky's the limit, So the Lord is going to make this house, which are the Israelites, far greater than the glory that was back then. And back then we were glorious. And right now, in the fucked up condition we're in, we're glorious.
That's right.
But how much more glorious will we be when the Lord changes us and makes us perfect?
Because we're still the salt of the earth.
Perfect.
Still, we're still the salt of the earth. Still, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
Yep.
Right, but the ways of the wicked seduce them.
That's
Proverbs
it.
12 and 26. So
That's
Jake, even in a lower state, is
Still.
better than any heathen.
Damn.
The Most High will take the most wickedest Jake
Yep.
in their state right now.
Yep.
Than any heathen. He prefers them over any heathen because the Most High can always raise you up.
That's right.
The
But he's
Lord,
never dealt with any nation.
the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, but
Ooh,
we yet
Choose Israel. See, and this is what the nations are mad at.
Right.
Because even in our lowest state, the Most High still prefers us.
But which heathen is the most mad?
But Esau,
That's right.
because he actually comes from that lineage of Abraham and Isaac,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
it's split,
Right
He
there.
almost made it.
He all smoked. But if in the apocalypse, we go call Esau almost.
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
Hey, like the one dude, there was I think it was a documentary or something I was watching. The little boy was talking, right? He was speaking in Spanish. And he said you had the Incas, right? That, build
Mhm.
monuments and
Mhm.
stone walls and all that. And then he said you have the Incas and you have the Incapables.
Damn.
And they showed a wall that the fucking Spaniards built. That shit was trash. Salaka.
Well,
Yes.
Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated.
Come.
That whole just that statement right there. That's from the Most High. The statement from the Most High.
Yep.
That embodies a lot. The
Yeah.
Lord, he rejected Esau.
Yeah.
So
Come.
even in Jacob's lowest state, he's better than Esau.
Yeah.
And the Most High prefers Jacob over Esau. But look, we're gonna be changed. The ultimate end goal of Jacob is to be changed, to be
That's
made
it.
righteous.
That's it.
But the Lord still prefers Jacob.
That's it.
Esau, he was created to be wicked.
Right.
The Lord, he has a purpose for Esau, but it's not nigh unto him. It's not on his right hand side.
And then
that's
no.
what.
no, you got it.
And I was just gonna say, people like to, come with that madness that, Jacob stole Esau's, blessing. Well, he supplanted him. The second Ezra 3:16 says that the Lord pushed by Esau.
Yeah.
It was ordained. You imagine this damn devil getting the birthright, man, and pushing this shit out forever?
It was already set up in the
Meant for him
spirit.
to get it.
It
You
was
know what
already
you
set up
say?
in the spirit.
You know what you say to something like that?
Yeah.
So what?
So what?
Yeah,
right.
When you go back to the vision, right?
Right.
What did the seer say to Isaac and Rebekah? That the elder shall serve the younger.
Yep.
So the Lord made when Joseph had his two sons, he had his oldest Manasseh and his youngest Ephraim,
Yep.
right? When Jacob, he couldn't really see.
Yeah.
And when Joseph brought the children to him to be blessed, he brought Manasseh to Jacob's right hand to get the greater blessing. But Jacob crossed his hands
That's right.
and put the right hand on Ephraim.
It was all the spirit.
And then Joseph, of course, he had his head down.
Uh-huh.
The scriptures don't say that, but he had his head down probably. He had probably his eyes closed.
Right.
Because when he realized what his father was doing, he moved, no, father, this is the oldest. And he said, I know my son. And he also shall be great, but his brother shall be greater. So this is the Most High's plans.
Right.
The Lord, the Most High is the one that's in control of things.
That's it.
That's why I said, why did he yet find fault? Well, he's the Most High. He created everything. That's what he did. So if he finds fault, he is the Most High. Means
Do what you want.
that's it. You get no higher than the Most Highest. So it says in Habakkuk 2:9, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai of hosts. And in this place, meaning in the land of Israel, will I give peace, said the Lord of hosts. So basically, peace is not going to come upon the earth until the Lord makes that peace.
That's right.
Yahweh Shai said, my peace I give you, not as the world giveth, give I to you.
Right.
because that peace means this everlasting peace.
That's right.
And it's the right peace. It's not feigned peace.
Right.
It's not man's peace. It's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's peace.
Yeah, it's like that water that Yahweh Shah was talking about at the well.
Yeah, well, yep.
Damn.
You know,
You'll never be thirsty again. Wow.
you're never gonna be thirsty.
Damn.
You know, you give somebody here, hey, get this spring water. It's good water. You know, you drink it. It's cool. It can be refreshing. It can be invigorating. You get all the minerals. 100. What essential 102 minerals, whatever the hell the number is. Esau say, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you be, oh, I feel good. But Yahweh Shai give me some. This water, you'll never be thirsty. Could you even imagine that?
Man.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
she
speaking about the
when you
spirit.
said that. She was kind of like, huh?
Yeah, she
You
couldn't
get
get.
this
She
water.
was a heathen. That's
Yeah,
why
she didn't get it.
Right.
she couldn't get it.
Yep.
But she was set up to go back to that land of Samaria
Tell
and have the testimony for the Gentile jakes that were
Yep.
mingling amongst them. They were like, what? Because they believed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they believed when even off of her testimony.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
was setting up the stage for when the Gentiles were going to come into this thing.
Man,
Okay.
that's why the Yahweh Shai's blood is so important, man. That ultimate sacrifice, that blood covers everything. That's why it's so important. There's eternity, there's immortality, there's riches, there's sovereignty, there's everything in the blood of Yahweh Shai, man.
And this is why you have there's such a hard push from these anti-Christians, of course, by the commandment of the small hats. We can't forget that. You know, that the try to separate us from the love of Yahweh Shai, try to separate us from this doctrine.
Yep.
All right, because they know this is where the power is at.
Well, that's Judas 5.
Yeah, Judas the 5th chapter.
Judas the 5th chapter spoke.
See, the heathens, they know about that.
Right.
They know that if we lost the name and we don't know this truth, that they have the ability to rule over us perpetually.
Yep. Scripture.
But as soon as our power is not unto us, there's no chance. There's no chance.
Damn.
There's no chance for them to win, for them to prevail.
Yep.
So their only way now is trying to upset the prophecy through the MOTV system, and that's not going to work.
Yep.
That's going to backfire.
You know, the beauty, if I just may add to it, thing that makes it so cold is that, this is the spiritual temple of the house of David, which I do believe, and I may put that on record. I believe what Elder Yashua said. I believe this is the house of David.
Mm-hmm.
Truly believe that. But the fact that, each and every time they went to this, they came into Jerusalem, they ransacked the temple, destroyed it, our line of communication. This could only be from the heavens that the Lord would have those scattered stones all throughout the planet and the earth. And the house is being built right now spiritually. We got stones over on the other side of the world that are being built together right now. That way you can't, man, there's no way you can't.
Our spirit has gathered them.
That's right.
Which
My
shows
commanded, my spirit is gathered.
which shows you that this is above man.
Yes.
You was done there, Apostle?
I got something real
Okay.
quick about Kushai, if I may.
Mhm.
This is I know you probably have something, bro.
No, go ahead.
Damn, what was it? I just had.
I was gonna go back into the some scripture we left off. We're gonna run it back.
Okay, you know what? No, you got it. It
No,
was
you
some-
got it. You got
no,
it.
no, I can't think of what it was.
Okay, there was this one comment his brother he put on my comment board for light affliction. Said Shalom below Apostle Joachim. Ecclesiastes 20:11. There's a basement because of glory,
Mm.
and there is a lifting up his head from that lower state.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
That's heavy
Yep.
because it's in Proverbs it also says, before honor comes humility. And that's why we've been humiliated because we humiliated the Most High.
That's right.
So the Lord humiliated us to teach us a lesson, and that's why He stripped us even down to our woman. So now we're coming back, right? And I got two precepts,
Stay in there, please.
right? And I'm looking for it over here. I got it in my hand. Speaking about the water of life, or river of life, what we were talking about just now. The well and the drinking you shall never thirst. It's Revelation 21:6. And He said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. Right? And then Revelation 22:17. And the Spirit and the bride say, come, and let him that heareth say, come, and let him that is athirst come, and whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. You see? So this is why the Lord said, if he knocks and any man answers, he will come and sup with them and share with him his most intimate thoughts, meaning that he will guide this man all the way through all these trials and tribulations, which when you have that comfort of the Spirit guiding you, you know, it's a euphoric feeling
Right.
that surpasses any other shit that you're dealing with.
Right.
Any pain or affliction or whatever you're going through,
Right.
it helps you to surpass all of that.
That's right.
It's the spiritual kratom
Yeah.
to help
Yeah,
ease
yeah,
the pain.
yeah. What did Yahweh Shai said, man shall not live by bread alone.
Yep.
But by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. This is really the life. This is the medicine.
That's it.
Yeah, you take herbal medicine, absolutely got to do that. You drink your juice, got to do that. Eat your salad, all that. Yeah, the exercise, yeah. But you got to do that first spiritually, or through faith.
Mhm.
That's really what binds everything together. See, and this is what this world does not understand. This is not what Jake understands. That everything is propped up by the spirit of Yahweh Shai. If the Lord don't want something to work, He ain't gonna let it work.
Mm-mm.
It can be. You can have the best plan in your mind.
Right.
Oh, this is perfect. There's no holes. It's sound. If the Most High is not with it, it's not going to work.
Right.
Okay, and this is what Jacob has lost. Jacob has lost that understanding that it's the Most High that has given them these things. You know what it says in the 9th chapter that they have. You know, how does it go where they have got all these benefits and have not known me?
Oh, yeah.
Con.
You know, they didn't know that all these things that they actually received in this world, all the comforts or whatever they may have, was really from the Most High. He has allowed you to get these things.
That's right.
You know, he has allowed you. He has put you in these situations.
That's right.
Whatever lot position that you're in, the Most High put you in that situation. Jacob, I did it by myself. This is me. This is by my hard work. When that's not the case. All right.
That's what the Lord, every time He spoke, before anything went down, He said, I said this before, because if I didn't, then you would have jumped up and said, I know, because you were obstinate. You were a hard-headed mother effer. If I wouldn't have told you that these things were going to happen before they happen, you would have said, I already know about that. And you see that with Jake.
Yep.
You tell them stuff that they don't know about. Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Just a rebellious, stiff-hearted, stiff-necked, cankerous people, man.
Yeah.
I'm back in Isaiah 13. I'm sorry, Isaiah 3. 12.
Okay. Let me get that right quick.
Yeah, Isaiah 3,
What verse you in?
verse 12.
Okay, good.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my children, they would lead thee, cause thee to err,
Mhm.
and destroy the paths of thy ways. And
Yeah.
Job did not allow the woman to destroy his path, because that could have been a nail in the coffin for many.
Right.
To go through all nobody in this world, nobody would have got mad at Job.
Yep.
For cursing the Most High. What kind of God would you worship?
Yeah.
You know,
You got Jake doing that now.
Yeah. What kind of God would you worship that would do all these things too? Yeah, like you said, you have Jake that's doing that now.
Right
They
now.
have testimonials on how they start catching hell in this truth, and they're like, no, when I was with Jesus, when I was with Christ,
Sweet.
none of these things happened.
Right.
So this must be a sign that I'm worshiping a false God, a false deity.
This is of the devil.
And right when I came back to Jesus, He embraced me, and I got that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
And you start relatively doing better.
Yeah.
Because, hey, the demons bless you too.
Yeah.
You know, the demons bless you,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
you know, but they don't tell you at the end that the Most High going to get you. At the end, the latter interview is going to be hell.
Yeah. They're going, when after you do all that, finagling and swirling and wiggling, right? They're going, when you get hit, they're going to look at you and say, the Most High finally got your ass. Inside joke.
That's an inside joke. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
It says,
And if
"Oh,
you
my-
don't know, now you know.
Oh, my people, they would lead thee cause to the earth,
Mhm.
destroy the way of thy path."
And to destroy the way of that path, because the Lord gave us that path. That's why, like the elder or the young elder, because he's coming up. He's an older brother, but he's coming up. He brought that out earlier about how the Lord gave us the instructions and how we're supposed to, show the examples before these nations, so that they can look at those examples and just look at us in total awe.
Right.
But you got to imagine, man, like they look at Jake in total awe now. So how much more in the kingdom,
Right. Right.
when we in total perfect order? Like Jake got a glow about them now.
Yeah.
In this low state.
Yeah.
But how much more when the Lord magnifies us?
Yeah.
You know, and you actually have that glow. When you got that glow, you got that glow. And who comes down the stairs?
Man with the $1 million.
Shalom, shalom. That's right.
And it's beautiful you say that, too,
Come on,
because it's like
man.
the Lord turned down the spirit that was within us. He had to, in order for us to, they were, I speak as a man when I say this, there were a number of different ways where, us bringing us to a lower stage. It's like the Lord literally had to turn us down, turn our down. That's what say, even in this lower state, the wonderful things that God can do, things that are amazing that the nations marvel over. He had to not only turn us down, but he also had to give this man a carnal weapon just to keep us in order, just to keep us where we're at. Yahushua said, "Ye are gods, but ye shall die like men." Right? So we're coming into that time where we're coming back into that godlike state and that godlike mindset. And so, hey man, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
You have something? Because I had
What you have?
going back to first Ezra, the 4th chapter.
Okay.
On a mini, going back to the woman.
Oh, I literally had that right here. 26. Many have ran out of their wits.
Yes,
I was
sir.
literally holding that one. Okay, that's the spirit. You got it.
Yep. We can let me see. Because I was reading down. I'll start at 21 again. It says he sticketh not. This is first Ezra 4 and 21. He sticketh not to spend life with his wife,
Right.
and remembered neither father nor mother nor country. And I mean, that's just the, when you come into manhood, where does your mind shift and focus?
Right.
It focuses on a woman.
Right.
And that's just in the man. That's man's nature. Nothing you can do about
That's
that.
innate within us. Right.
Like you love your father, you love your mother, and they were there to nourish you up, ultimately to go to the next stage.
Right.
And that was for you to get with a woman.
That's right.
And you get with that woman, and you will leave your own country. You go to Japan. You found a woman that you love in Japan.
Yep.
You go to Japan. You leave America. You leave your
Look
family.
at Jay, passport bros.
Yep.
What do you think they're going over there overseas
For love.
Right.
That's really what they go in there for comfort.
Yes.
For the comfort of a woman, especially a beautiful woman. To speak, to cook for her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than just having, relations, so-called
Sure.
sex.
Of
For
course.
the woman, it's that's a big part, of course.
Yeah.
Yet it's deeper than that too.
Right.
The comfort that a woman brings, it's like the yin and the yang.
Right.
A man is not complete, without that woman in this sense, in a carnal sense.
Right.
But we understand that the spirit is the one, the Holy Spirit, wisdom is our woman,
Sophia.
and this is what gives us that comfort that a woman can't give you.
Right.
Now the Lord give you a woman he gave you a woman, of course,
Give you a good wife, he give you a possession, but that's why Paul said what? That you should have trouble in the flesh. Okay, if Jake could get passports, he'll go over here to passport bros, go to these different countries. Yeah, you get a woman that's subservient to you and all that, but ultimately that's not going to be. These curses still follow us
wherever you go.
It's not gonna be
Okay, there's no shaking, and regardless of where you go, you may get a little bit of ease here and there, but ultimately, you still gonna have to die.
She's still gonna leave your bitch ass.
Let somebody come over there with
With a bigger bag,
That's it.
with better promises.
That's it.
Hypergamy.
That's it.
Okay. That a woman is always, and that was Jake. There you go. And that was Jake. You got to turn everything spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jake was doing. Our people,
Mm-hmm.
they were marrying up to these other guys. Well, maybe it's this guy. I'm gonna serve this. This guy give me this. This guy give me that.
Right.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
But what's crazy is that, like in Hosea, the 2nd chapter, the Most High gave Jake everything.
Yep.
And then they burning the oil and wine and the incense and all that to these different guys.
Yep.
As if they're the ones that gave it to him. Look, for you, I gave you that.
Mm-hmm.
You have. That's why Jake get mad. Like when he got a woman and he giving her money, he giving her shit, a car or whatever, and she supporting another dude with his shit or giving another dude his money.
Yep.
Yeah, bitch, how the fuck you gonna take my shit and give it to that motherfucker?
That's how the
That's
Most
what
High
we did.
built. And that's but see, that's the wicked nature of the woman.
Right.
That's the hypergorous. That's the
Hypergamy, yeah.
hypergorous nature of the woman.
Right.
She thinks that whatever she got can be better. You
Right.
can give her everything.
Right.
And she still thinks that there's something better than that.
Right.
And that's what our people, they still thought that, yeah, the Most High, well, the perfect example, Jeshua waxed fat, he kicked. When you're in that comfortable state, you're not considering
Right.
the things that can go wrong.
Right.
You're not considering, and then you're not, because you've been doing. See, this is what Esau. He's been doing good for so long that he has not thought of his latter end.
Right.
He has not thought of the consequences of his actions.
That's right.
He did not think about the blowback of all the things that he's done in the past will catch up to him.
Right.
You know, so he's like, I'm good.
Right.
It's always going to get better.
Yep.
It's never going to get worse.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Because the sentence against a evil work is not. Yep. Speedily, people think themselves to be in a good case. Now we know because why? Ultimately, a woman, she's an accessory to power. Is she not? She's an accessory to power. You know, but and so in Job 9:24, whose world was this? Whose earth was this given it to? It was given it to the hands of the wicked. He's in the power seat right now. So we understand that on top of the fact that we went off, okay, with our husband, right? But when now the Lord is getting ready to set up this arrangement, we're going to be in that ultimate power seat, man. Okay, and it starts with this word, with this truth first. Bodies being changed, okay, being back in our right mind, being back in our heavenly estate, our woman being back in order. But we had to go down this way ultimately first. So you brought out earlier, Jake gets judged quick. Well, you have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will judge you for your sins. All right, so the Lord is only dealing with Israel. Nowhere in the scriptures will you read about the Lord ever delivering any other nation. They want to talk about how this salvation is going to be for the nations. Well, when does that ever happen in history? Malachi 3:6 says the Lord doesn't change, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we continue.
You know, so
yep. Verse 22. But this also you know but this also you must know that women have dominion over you.
Yep.
And we see that today.
Right.
Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman? Like you guys are, going in and knowing individuals that do that.
Yep.
You know, I know individuals that have done that.
Sure, I know.
Suckers. You know, because women rule over them, and if they want that woman, they fall so deep in love with that woman that they'll just do anything for that woman.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Wherefore, I'm sorry, no. Verse 23. Yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob, to steal, to sell upon the sea and upon rivers.
Yep.
You know, they rob and kill.
That's Jake today.
They travel.
That's Jake today.
You know, go upon treacherous sea just for a woman.
Yep.
And look upon a lion. They'll fight a lion.
Yeah.
There's so many movies, you know, the Disney Channel movies, the Disney fairy tale. It's all about a man saving the princess in distress.
Yes.
The woman in distress. You know, fighting a lion, fighting a dragon.
Yep. Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer. It was just so you can get the spoil, which is the woman in the spoil. She's woman in the spoil.
Exactly.
You know, the approval from a woman.
Yep.
The acceptance from a woman.
Yep.
You know, so you can get her. Okay. It says, yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and steal and sell upon sea and upon rivers, and looketh upon a lion and goeth in the darkness.
Mm.
And when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's Jake. Does not Jake do that?
That's Jake today, bro.
Why do these dudes they go and commit these crimes?
Right.
Why do they go and scam?
Right.
Why do they sell drugs?
Right.
Is it to be approved amongst their peers, like the man? Yeah, somewhat, but it's really to get the woman.
Ultimately, because of women. That's really this world is really kind of set up in that way. You know, men go out, they want to achieve, success and have money and cars and all that stuff. Not necessarily for the dude. They be like things, but ultimately, everything that a man does is ultimately for a woman.
Yeah, because you'll be in some fucking basketball shorts and tank top.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, no, you ain't got no jewelry on. You with the boy, you don't give a shit.
Right.
You know,
it's time to
right?
go out.
But when you go out, you put on your shit, goddammit. You get your hair cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get your hair braided and shit. You got the nice threads on. You put the cologne on for who? The woman or the man?
Exactly.
To be around your boy. You know, you be stinking around your boy and shit.
Right.
Nigga, you stink. Nigga, you stink too. You know, it's all good. You take a shower or whatever. Y'all in the mud. Y'all, you know, it's nothing. You don't care about that. But if you try to get that woman, you come in a different spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you want to.
Oh no, I'm just laying back and off you, brothers.
You know, you come in a different spirit because the glory of a man is the woman. You know, that's just at the end of the day, that's just what it is.
That's right.
You know, and that's it's not a wicked spirit, but it can be unprofitable and not expedient in this time.
Yep.
Okay, the true woman that you should be caressing and trying to impress is wisdom.
That's right.
Okay, it's not these women in this world, man. Okay,
That's right.
hey, look, these women gonna come and believe me, they're gonna come in droves.
Oh yes.
So
That's promised.
You're
That's
not
so
attracted to power.
That's it. And
That's
there's
what
a
I just said, right?
there's
That's
a-
the spirit you just brought that
and
out.
there's a shift.
Accessories to power.
There's a shift in power that's happening.
Yep.
Like you were saying earlier, some women are kind of getting it.
Yeah.
But there's a shift in power. The Most High is making that shift. Okay, I should make a man more precious.
Mhm.
Than the fine gold of Ophir.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's gonna happen at this time. It's gonna happen before the destruction.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
and if I may, like now people are even getting more of a clarification on what high value truly is.
Mhm.
You know, even though your man Kevin Simmons, but he even stated, he's like, hey, if you just got money, no, you just a high earner. Other things follow being a high value man.
Well, because if you ask them people in Iran, in Israel, what's a high value man? Them motherfuckers getting bombed right now, man.
Exactly.
A high value man is somebody that can protect them.
Yeah.
That the food is still on the table. Okay, the roof is still over your head. You got protection from them goddamn missiles that's raining down.
That's right.
All right, and the man is in a clear head. That's the high value.
Exactly.
Okay, they not debating on what a man and a woman is.
Yeah.
When there's missiles dropping.
Yeah.
When there's
That's crazy.
famine. When there's pestilence.
That's I mean, out of all the things you could debate about.
Well,
But
you
that's
know,
Babylon the Great.
I was gonna say that's the West, the mindset of the Western world. That's funny you said that. A woman came up on social media today, and she said, only in the West will you find the people that don't know what a woman is or what her role is.
Yeah.
Out of all the earth, only here in America is that question.
You know, but they know it's just that just to justify their weirdo spirit,
Yes.
they push that shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Verse 25. Oh, you got something?
Well, everybody knows what a man is. When a man doesn't live up to his standards, that's very interesting that everybody can identify a man when he's lacking in an area.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what's a man? Oh, you're a man. Oh,
Yeah.
glad you acknowledged that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna run it down to you.
Yeah. It's like it, brother.
Yeah, you in spirit. 25. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. So going back to Job, a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. So you love this woman, and all this shit happened to you, and this woman that you deeply care and love for. This, you know,
She betrayed you.
she betrayed. She had to be a virgin.
Yeah.
So
Of
you
course.
got her when she was young, you know, trained up in the way. She was trained up in the way and all that, this and that. And she,
Yes, my Lord.
Yeah, yes, my Lord.
Yeah.
Yes,
Whatever you like.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
she giving you everything.
Yep.
She ain't complaining because you know what? She getting them, all them goodies is coming too.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
she's good. So then she betrayed you like this.
Yeah.
You know,
Damn.
and
Ultimate betrayal.
at your lowest state, then curse the Most High and die.
Yeah.
Not just die, but curse the Most High. That means she trying to take your ass all the way out.
Yeah.
Man.
Damn.
Which showed that Satan jumped on her.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the mindset really of the 2/3 is opposed to the elect, man.
Yeah.
That's what Jake is like, pretty much, man. The 2/3 of Jake.
We always see it when we're on the highways and byways, right? When it catches Jake's ear,
Yeah.
like, man, what they got going on? What the old lady doing? Sitting there huffing and puffing to the left, or pulling them away. Come on, let's go.
What is that? The seed that was cast by the wayside? The wayside.
Yeah.
Where
Yep,
Satan
Matthew.
came in
Yep.
and took what was in that
That
person,
was sown in his mind.
was sown in his mind, took him away. Going back into that was the sixth event that happened to Job.
Yeah.
With the woman.
Yep.
Satan is directly dealing. Satan has direct access.
Well, he had access to her all the way in the
All the
garden.
way in the garden.
Yeah.
That got Eve and Pat.
Yeah.
All the way from the beginning.
You had Eve, Lot's wife, Job's wife. What other confirmation do you need?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it goes. This
So
goes.
deep.
This goes way back,
Yeah, right.
way back in the time with you women out there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Back in the
You know,
time.
you women back there, you was out there with the goddamn serpent in the garden. You know,
Yep. Verse
It's like
26.
it,
No. Verse 26. Yay.
no, go ahead, brother. Hey, the scriptures trump everything.
Right.
Verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
hmm
26.
And that's the main point we were talking. This see, so it's coming full circle now.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we talked about in the beginning. Remember the patience of Job, you know, and other topics. So the woman is going to have to come in there because the woman played a major role in Job's life.
That's right.
You know, and this woman was supposed to be this pious woman, you know, that was with Job. She was down with Job. He had everything. I mean, he said his substance, his cattle, you know, I mean, he just had, I mean, he was good.
Yeah.
And then when he lost everything that day, then I don't know how long it took from that point to the Lord, you know, allow Satan to hit him with the sickness and his woman. So it was like a short period of time. All that shit came upon him. And what's the last thing that came against him? The woman.
And also too, when you look at all those stressful events,
Yeah.
right? All those stressful events led to sickness.
Yeah.
It was ultimately, I mean, the Most High gave him the sickness,
Right.
but just show you how much stress can actually cause disease as well.
Oh, he was under a lot of pressure.
It will literally cripple your immune system.
Yeah.
You know, he had those botches and stuff like that. That's all a low immunity.
Yeah.
Your body's supposed to fight all that, but he just was done. He was finished.
Yep.
And then he had the woman to come and try to finish him off.
Damn.
But there was the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai that
Kept
upheld
him
him.
going,
In his mind, he still did not. He still did not
Bend to her will.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. It says, "Yea, there be many."
He forged on like a man
Yeah.
supposed to. And we can learn a lot from Job,
That's
man.
it. That's right. That's it.
You got it.
It says, "Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and have become servants for their sakes."
You got, and then goes into what? You got guys out here just being complete crash dummies for these women. Not even know, just like, bro, Jake will just leave. Hey, he did this and that.
Yep.
He didn't ask his old lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, of course, you're going what? You're going to defend your woman, but hey, what happened? What transpired?
Yep.
You know, because hey, this can go a lot of ways.
Yep.
A lot of ways that ain't gonna favor you. You know, but a lot of these women, what they don't care.
Yeah, especially if you know that woman.
Yeah.
You know she's a shit starter. So what the
Yeah.
fuck did you do to get this shit started?
Yeah.
Yep. Wherefore a man, many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women.
Yeah, how many times you see these simps jump up,
Oh, man.
you know, and you know, the women do some shit and they come in there to her rescue and he gets shot.
Yep.
He gets put to death.
Yep.
He get put in the grave.
Yeah.
The dude get put in jail and she goes scot-free.
Yep.
To jump on the next man's dick.
Yep. It never fails.
Yeah.
And it's gotten so bad that these mothers with these son husbands have done the same thing.
Yeah.
You sit there and kill the Jake over because your mama got cold fries.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally happening.
This just shows you that the scriptures are real.
Yeah.
Because it said, what the scripture we read earlier, the women rule over them.
Mhm.
You know? So pretty much, man, you know, all the way around. The nations that come here to America, they drink the juice, but one thing, for the most part, they have their women in order.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, Jake is the only nation really that allows their women to run, you know, rampant over them.
Yeah.
You know?
Who was that said that you want to know how far a nation has fallen? Look at their women.
Damn,
That's maybe sending a quote actual.
no, I believe it was a quote. Yeah, I just can't right now. I can't think of who it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I forgot who said that because I remember it was years ago,
Right.
damn near 10 years ago, that was brought out. But it's been what? It's been resurfacing. That quote has been coming up because when you see the condition that our people are in, man, and especially our women, hey, and it's all prophecy.
Yep.
It just didn't happen overnight. You know, hey, our women what are ranking in the terrible statistics, man.
If I may add here, it says that roughly estimated before he went through all that hell, his net worth
Gold-
estimated today was
yes.
like over 50 million.
They said Golda Meir.
Say again?
Is attributed to Golda Meir, which is I believe she's an Amalekite. While she may have popularized it, similar sentiments have been expressed by others.
Gone.
You got it. You saying something?
No, I was just saying. They said looking up here, it says before Job went through all that hell. Now keep in mind that the Lord, he multiplied that times whatever after, but before then he was worth over 50 million in today's value. Over,
So
like well over.
and think about how you said that was before.
Yes,
So think about how much more the Lord blessed them.
after.
And now they even accounted for inflation though. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
50 million. That's not even really a lot of money.
Right,
You know,
Right.
we talk about the richest man in the East.
right.
You know, he had actual real substance.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, cattle,
Yes.
servants.
Yes.
You know, gold, silver, actual real substance,
Yes.
land.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
he was set up and he
He
was
was rich.
straight. He was real riches.
Sir,
Something
real-
that we've never ever even experienced.
something we don't really know what that is.
Like,
Like,
you might have a gold coin. You know, 2 gold coins. We think that's something.
Gold coin like that.
You be you get the stack, you know, a few dollars. I'm straight, bro.
He had servants. You remember he made servants, manservants.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, concubine. Like he had it all.
Because who was Salaki, brother? Who was the one reporting to him? His servant.
That's it.
right.
Sorry, what you were saying?
No, just Elder Apostle Gabar says it all the time. Real riches is having servants.
Yeah,
So I said that when that's so true wealthy is when you actually have servants, man.
that's when you're truly blessed.
Yes.
I got something real quick. I'm just gonna read this real quick. It says the phrase, "If you want to know the state of a people, look at the condition of their women," is often attributed to Golda Meir. While she may have popularized it, similar sentiments have been expressed by others. Explanation: meaning of the quote. This quote suggests that the status and well-being of women within a society are a strong indicator of the overall progress and health of that society.
Ooh, that makes sense.
You know, and it's pretty much talking about, you know, how these women act. It's not talking about if they're prospering and all that. Because usually in a society where a woman was overachieving a man, you know, in so many words, that means that society is fucked.
Yep, that was wrong. Ancient Rome. They
Ancient Rome.
started empowering women. That was one of the main catapults on why they fell.
And that was what's that? A new thing in the earth? Was that Jeremiah?
Jeremiah.
31.
You brought that up.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to surpass. Yeah. So these women, and now we're seeing that's coming to a halt.
Right.
You know,
Right.
a lot of they said a lot of the employment of the so-called black woman has risen, and over 300,000 of them have lost their jobs from February into April, bro.
Yep.
Is
I
it
know.
is
There's
it getting
still
worse?
on that.
Well, this is the Lord turning things right side up.
Yeah.
Right.
He's bringing everything back
Into
its
proper balance.
order through judgment.
Yeah.
You know, because since the leader of the people, since you do not want to execute righteous judgment, I'll tell you about Habakkuk the first chapter, righteous judgment never goes forth.
Yep.
Because the leaders do not want to execute righteous judgment. Now the Most High has to intervene and set everything back into order
Right.
through his judgments.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm gonna get that scripture,
That's it.
and then we'll go to James 5, and then Lord's will. Jeremiah 31
Let's go.
and 22. It says, "How long will thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
Mm.
For the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai has created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man."
Yeah. So a woman shall compass a man. What do they do? They come out with these analytics. They're not attending college at a rate such as their women. So basically, how they have categorized it, they said the so-called black woman was the most educated, but really with that whole
Most indoctrinated.
most indoctrinated. So with that whole statistic, it's actually like, okay, they attend college more than the so-called black man, but the so-called black man still earns more And then even moved up when they start doing their research and analytics, anything leaning towards a so-called positive outlook for the so-called black man is what? Shitted on.
Well, I forget the statistic, but I forget where it comes from. But the average wealth of the black woman is $5.
Yeah.
When you account for all the money that she spends and all the money that she's in debt and what the money that she makes. Her net worth, there we go. Her net worth, the average net worth of the black woman is $5.
Yeah. Yeah.
and these are the leaders of the society. Yeah. These are leaders of the J community.
Yeah. The matriarch, right?
Yeah.
And that's ass backwards. And that's strictly what the scriptures are talking about right there, especially with the backsliding daughter is talking about the nation as a whole. Because Jake refuses to get right. So you're gonna deal with the consequences that Yahweh Shem Yahshua has placed ahead of you if you're not trying to get on the right side of history, man. You feel you too cool for Yahweh Shem Yahshua? That people forget the Most High is with the smoke, bro.
He with all that stuff.
Yeah, he created the smoke.
That's
so yeah,
smoke session.
James 5.
Yes, sir. James 5. We can just go straight to the point. James chapter 5 and start at 7.
James 5 and 7. Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord.
Yeah, because you have the rich man that's doing all these things, this wicked shit to us, but we have to be patient because the Lord is going to vindicate us at the end. Go ahead.
Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Yeah. So when you plant something, if you plant something tonight, and you go there tomorrow and you expect some fruit or a tree, anything to grow, you bugged out.
Right.
You know, it takes patience. It takes careful watch, careful cultivation.
Yep.
Careful, you have to water it. If it's not being watered, like if there's no rain, you have to, pour water on it, whatever the case may be. So it takes careful cultivation, but it takes time.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep, it says, be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh.
Right, and then the patience helps us establish our heart.
Right.
That's what it says, the knowledge of wisdom shall be the stability of that times and strength of salvation. Go ahead.
Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the judge.
Before the door.
I'm sorry. The judge standeth before the door.
Yeah, you got jumbled up with the grudge right above it.
Verse 9. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door.
Mm-hmm.
Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, for the example of suffering affliction and of patience.
Yeah, and there's time and time again it's been shown. Go ahead.
Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy.
That's it, because the Lord vindicated Job at the end.
That's right.
But that was just a tale of showing you if you're a righteous man and you're going to do the righteous things no matter what you go through, and at the end, your end is going to be better than what you started with. And just like we read earlier, the end of this latter house is going to be greater than the beginning. And that's what's going to happen. That's why the Lord is, building Jake back up. Only the elect going to get it, but the full buildup is going to come in the kingdom of heaven. We're just going through the road or the path to get to that perfection. Anybody got anything else? Any comments, scriptures?
Yeah, I think that what you just mentioned, better is the ending of the thing in the beginning.
That's Ecclesiastes. Yep.
Yeah, Job is a prime example of that. So we got a lot to look forward to. We're part of that number ultimately, man.
That's it.
We went through the hell, man. So hey, the reward is coming, brother. Scriptures talk about the Lord is not unrighteous. Forget our labors of love.
Yep. We went through the hell. Now it's time to excel.
So
that's right.
Excel through the hell. All right. Anybody? Anything else? All right. So with that, we pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say, Shalom.
Shalom.